Peace, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Today is Thursday, September the 1st. So for everybody who's September babies, this is your month. It is the first of the month, but it's the ninth month of the year. The ninth month of the year. So what are you going to do with it? September the 1st, the ninth month of the year. What are you going to do? There are plenty of times that we say things that we're going to do, but we actually don't do it. We don't action it. We like to hear ourselves talk, but we don't really actually move our feet. You like to watch things happen, but you don't actually make those things happen for yourself. This is number 9. You've been to number 1, January, but now we're in September. Have you actually completed the things that you said that you were going to do at the beginning of the year? And here it is, 9 months later. It's the gestational period of your execution. 9 months later, have you still yet to execute the things that you said that you were going to do when you made that resolution at the beginning of the year that you talked about so strongly? You made this elaborate vision board. You wrote down all these things that you wanted to do, but yet some of those things have yet to be executed. That is just something that you as an individual have to look at for yourself to see where you are right now in your execution phase. Peace. Good morning via LinkedIn. Thank you for being here. So now, like always, I definitely want to start out in a spirit of gratitude to say thank you for being here. You do not have to be here. You can be anywhere right now, but you're here right here with me on the podcast Consistency is Currency. And I thank you now and forevermore. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Execute. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Where are you at in your process of execution? Where are you at in the things that you know that you had set out for yourself? Again, this is September the 1st. This is the first day of the 9th month. Everybody who wrote that New Year's resolution, it is completely up to you to birth that dream or to birth that vision. Peace. Good morning, Mr. Johnson. To birth that dream or to birth that vision. Let's get into it. I ain't going to hold you long. I just want to talk about this execute thing. A lot of times we make execute a good conversation, but we don't action the execution. We don't action those things that we have set out for ourselves for whatever reason. We have yet to action it. We have yet to bring it to fruition. We have yet to birth that thing that we have that was buried so deep inside of us that we haven't really brought it to life, right? And the only way to bring that thing to life is to actually execute. Man, it's funny that this is, well, it's not really funny that this is the 9th month, but it is an aha moment within the year because we can talk about where are you at right now in your year. If we put it into physical terms of having a child, the child is inside the womb. If it goes full term within the 9th month, so now where are you right now in your gestational period of your goals? Where are you right now in the gestational period in the vision that you have or the vision that you had? You're in the 9th hour. You're in the 9th month. So have you birthed that thing that you had that was sitting so deeply rooted inside of you, or did you allow that thing to never, ever crown? Right? It's like the baby when it comes out, it crowns, and then it becomes, and then, the mother push and all this other stuff, or the cesarean, and it gets open up and the baby comes out. So where are you at within within that vision, within that goal? Have you crowned yet? Or do you have to go ahead and take it out of you? So we're going to begin to pull it out right now. We're going to talk about the gestational period of execution. This is the first day of the 9th month of the year. And let's talk about execute. So the thing that I want you to do right now inside the chat, I want you to put inside the chat the word execute, because sometimes we have to see it to believe it. Sometimes we have to say it to give it power. Just like I put inside the content up top, it says execute, 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 execute. Say it 4 times, because when you say the word execute, there feels like there's some sort of empowerment that happens when you say the word execute. It just feels like that's something that you need to be doing. There is something that needs to be said. There is something that needs to be actioned, just saying the word execute alone. But after you say the word execute, there are steps that need to be taken, because you have begun to empower the mind to come out of the mouth and to confess it. But now you have to move your hands and move your feet in order for you to accomplish that particular vision or to accomplish that particular goal. After you have understood that the vision has to be stronger than the vision itself, because you can have a vision, but until you begin to work and walk in and walk through that vision, it is just an idea. So now it's time to execute. Energy frequency. Yes, sir. All right. So for those who may be new to the platform, you're going to get definitions of words, and then you're going to get the etymology, but there is no etymology on this because execute is just execute all by itself. The origin of execute is execute, right? That's the birth of energy, because you have frequency and then you have energy. So let's go ahead with the definition of execute. It is said the definition of execute is to carry out or pull or put into effect, produce, or perform. To carry out or to put in effect, produce, or perform. Now, the inversion on this definition is red over white. That means you're focusing on the red. Not that you're eliminating the white, but I want you to focus on the red. Because a lot of times in our execution, we lose focus. And because we lose focus, we don't factor in the why of the why these things haven't really come to pass. So the focus on the red over white is put into effect, produce, or perform. What have you done, or what are you doing that is effective? To put into effect, to bring it to life, to make it happen, to bring it into fruition. And produce. Are you producing, or have you reduced because there are things that have affected you? And are you performing the things that you said that you were going to do? Are you actually walking within the vision, or walking in those steps that's going to allow you to accomplish the things that you have set out for yourself, or the things that you had set out for yourself? Because there are times where you're going to have to breathe life into those dry bones that has been sitting and dormant within your own life's valley, that you're going to have to give life to those dry bones and bring those things to pass. But it's only going to come to pass through the power of your execute, through that thing that you need to produce, to put it into effect. So now let's go with the other inversion, the white over red, which is to carry out. Because you're going to have to carry it out, because when it is inside of you, in order for you to take it to a place, you're going to have to carry out those orders. You're going to have to carry out the vision. You're going to have to carry out the gift. You're going to have to carry out through action, because to put into effect, there is an action that takes place first within the mind itself, and then it carry out into its physical form by taking that thing, that idea, and putting your hands on it to actually produce that thing that is within inside of you. Yes, I'm going to keep calling it a thing, because only you can give shape to it. Only you can put the word to it. Only you can put your hand on it because that's your vision. It's not my vision. So it's not my responsibility to see your thing through, but it is your responsibility to see it come to pass only after you have put it into what? Effect. All right, that's just the definition. I'm going to leave that alone because we got to get into the process of execution, because there is a process to execution. A lot of times we don't process the execution because we don't know how to process our thoughts. Some of us wasn't born around or didn't grow up with someone that taught you how to execute. A lot of that we learned on our own. A lot of that, it came from running into walls. A lot of that, it came from falling into ditches and looking up, and there's nobody else to pull us out. But we have to understand that in order for us to get up and get out of that hole, we have to execute. We have to dig ourselves out of that hole, because there may not have been anyone to pull us out. Hell, even if we had someone there to execute and to pull us out of that hole, we did what? Sometimes we found ourselves right back into either the same hole or another hole. But then it takes the thing that we just learned how to do in order for us to get ourselves out of that hole and to execute on our own. Not everybody was born into a 2-parent household. Not everybody had a single mom. Not everybody had a single dad. I say that to say this. It's not always about what you had. It's about what you have. It's about what are you doing with what you have right now, presently. You can't keep holding on to that thing that happened 20 years ago, because today is September 1st, 2022. You can't go back 20 years and fix it. So what are you going to do right now from this day forward? You have 20 more years to make it happen. You have 20 more years to execute. You can't go back 20 years to execute, because it's what are you going to do right now that's going to make it different than what it was yesterday? You can't go back into August. So why are you going to take August into September? There is something new about execution that is going to change and to alter your future, but you have to pay attention to what you have right now. So let's go ahead and jump into this deep dive, because within the action of execution, or within the power of execution that you have, there is a law of diligence that has to come with it, because diligence is showing up and executing at a high level. But are you willing to execute at that high frequency? Are you willing to execute with the same energy and tenacity that you did when you first fell into that hole? Are you willing to execute in your now? Are you willing to execute in your today? Because a lot of time you don't feel like doing anything. I'm just going to be honest. There's some times where I don't feel like doing this. But I know, because it was given to me as a gift and it was given to me as a task, then I know that I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for those who have the ability to receive the execution, because I have to know that there is a why that's bigger than my what. I know what I'm doing, but there is a why that's bigger than your what. Your children can be your why. Your spouse can be your why. Your legacy can be your why. Your why has to be bigger than your what if you're going to ever have the ability to continue the process of execution. I mean, it's human, right? It's human to not want to do something. That means that you have feelings. That means that you have the ability to course correct, but it's human to not want to do it. But that's when you understand that there is something that is deeper inside of me that I have to execute. Now, what am I going to do? That's the most important part. By taking those feelings and looking at it for what it is, those are just feelings. I can alter my feeling just like you can alter frequency. So now let's go ahead and begin the process of execution. I'm gonna give you 4 tools. I'm gonna give you 4 things when it comes to execution. And I want you to understand that execution is turning your vision and strategy into something tangible. Turning your vision and strategy into something that you can see. Turning your vision and strategy into something that you can grab a hold on to. Why? Because it was put into effect. You produced it and you're performing it every day. So therefore, in order for you to perform something, you have to psychologically see it, mentally see it, spiritually see it, and take that vision and to strategize how you're going to do it in order for it to ever become tangible, to become true, and to become life, and to become to light. So the first thing that I want you to understand that you have to have a measure of accountability when it comes to your execution. Your accountability. Not someone else's accountability, but your accountability. What do you do in your 9th hour? What do you do when you don't feel like doing anything? What do you do when it feels like it's so hard for you to do something? You have to then what? You have to create a measure of accountability, because in order for it to take place, it has to have a starting point. The beginning of September, but now what are you going to do? You didn't do it in January. You didn't do it in April. You said, I'm going to wait for the springtime and I'm going to make it happen. Summer is over. Spring is done. August is over. September is now. So now what are your measures of accountability? The things that you said that you wanted to do, you didn't do it. Write those things out, and then you start from there. You create those performance measures, because remember, in order to execute, there is a level of production that needs to take place, and you have to produce. So therefore, look at the things when you wasn't productive and the thing that you didn't do when you didn't produce, and you create some sort of chart to say, okay, my measure of accountability, I am going to do this, this, and this, and now I'm going to execute. That becomes your measure of accountability. Am I accountable for what I didn't do in August, in September? Yes, you are, because that was that thing that you said that you were going to do. Now hold yourself to it. Now hold your own self to what you said that you were going to do. Stop mixing somebody else's actions with your actions, because you're the one that needs to do it. And then after you do that, you have to begin to create a cadence, right? That one thing that you can do to create that rhythmic pattern, create a cadence, because if you already executed it before, don't you know that same type of frequency that you created when you have your measure of accountability and it worked? Create that cadence, because that same thing that you did before, you can do it again, even if you put a different face on it. Create the cadence. If I am going to be successful, I have to look at the things that I have used in order for me to create success. Now create a cadence to do it again, because you've already done it. Live in your accomplishments. Acknowledge that it happened. Know that you can do it again, and create that cadence, because that cadence is the process that you can do over again. Just like for those that may have some sort of military affiliation, or those who have been in ROTC, or those who know something about cadence, sometimes cadence empowers you. Like when you're running and you're singing that cadence, and they're running left, right, left, and they're singing like 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, that gets you hyped, right? You be inside a formation, you get all hyped up, and everybody's singing. That gives you energy. That same energy that you got when you sung the cadence as you were running or you were walking, it empowered you to want to keep going. So create that cadence that's going to empower you to want to keep going, because success can be duplicated. Success leaves breadcrumbs to let you know where you came from, to let you know how to do it again, to let you know that the process was processed. Now, in order for me to produce again, in order for me to be productive, I have to produce again. But I've created a cadence to know what I need to do when I wake up, to know what I need to do by 1 o'clock, to know what I need to do by 5 o'clock, to know what I need to do before 9 o'clock. That's creating a cadence. That's creating that schedule. That's creating that way that you're going to process your thoughts. So now it's just time for you to execute. And then in your pattern or the development of your cadence, now you have to become deliberate. I'm going to be deliberate in my execution process because I know what I want from it. I know what I want to do with it. I know what I want to design, and I know how I want it to be designed. Again, in order for it to be produced, I have to perform. You can't perform without producing. Well, you can. I'll take that back. You can perform without producing, but you have to understand that if I'm going to be productive, I have to have a knowledge base to create a cadence and to develop a measure of accountability if I'm going to be effective. Be deliberate in what you focus on, and then you will have a much deliberate outcome. It's just like saying, if I want to lose 5 pounds, I have to do things that is going to create a way that the 5 pounds is going to be lost. So if I'm eating different, I'm being deliberate in what I'm eating. Or if I'm exercising, then I have to be deliberate in the process of exercising and know what I'm doing in order for me to get to where I'm going. If I am there to start a business, then I have to execute the things that need to be done and be deliberate in that process. When I'm doing my research and discovery, I am doing it deliberately, because if I'm going to open the doors of this business, I have to be deliberate in my processing. I have to be deliberate in creating my systems. I have to be deliberate in creating the cadence that I'm going to create for myself if I'm ever going to accomplish this particular goal. And then after you do that, what has to happen? You have to make it tangible, right? You have to make it tangible. Are you really ready? Or are you just talking about it? Are you ready to commit to it? Or is it just still an idea of yours to execute? Goals will only stay ideas until you execute on those ideas that you have. I'm going to say that again. Goals will only stay ideas until you execute on the idea that you have. And then you begin the process of creating that cadence that's going to get you to the point to where it is no longer just an idea. It is now a reality. Because things that are real, you can touch, you can taste, you can feel, you can believe, you can hold it, you can execute, you can perform it, you can produce it, you can reproduce it over and over again because it became tangible to you. It moved past thought. It moved past the idea. How many ideas have you created that you have yet to how many ideas have you created that you have yet to make tangible? That's only something that you can answer. So what I want you to do right now is sometime today, write on a sheet of paper at the top, put the word execute. And then you're going to create your measure of accountabilities. So right at the top of the word at the top of the paper, put the word execute. And then everything that you had set out for yourself at the beginning of the year, for all you vision board pros and New Year's resolution visionaries, cool. However you do it, I'm just really not a fan of vision boards because there's too many people who have created vision boards who still can't see it. I'm just saying. So right on the top of the paper, execute, and then write down the things that you didn't execute. Right? So on the top of the paper, write the word execute, and then from there, write down the things that you had set out for yourself for this year that you did not execute. Because now it's time to make it tangible. So because you didn't do it, say that. Write it down. Write that thing down and make it tangible. Because a lot of times the words that we profess don't become tangible because we have yet to action the words that we just got finished saying. We don't change because we don't recognize what change actually means. Sometimes change may be the hardest thing that we have to do. But until we actually do it, we can look back at him like, man, it wasn't really that hard to do. I just had to move my feet instead of keep moving my mouth. All right, that's your homework. Write the word execute. And then on the left side, write down the things that you have yet to execute. Now I'm gonna do it too. Like for me, I'll say this, my transparent moment. So as a lot of times you see like the hats that I wear, the Already and stuff like that. That's a brand that I'm coming out with, and I have turned the paperwork in to the USPTO, which is the patent, trademark, USPTO trademark. So I got a letter back from the trademark saying, hey, we need you to fix this in order for us to give you this trademark. So for a long time before, when I was just wearing the hats already and getting the Already brand, trying to get it out, and I was just testing the product. I would get different hats made just so I can see what it's going to look like. I would get shirts made for me just so I can see what it's going to look like. I had to make it tangible in order for me to understand that there is a different type of process that you have to take in order for it to bring it into fruition. I had to make it tangible. So now got kicked back and said, okay, you need to fix these things in order for you to receive your copyright, in order for it to be your brand. So now when that thing got kicked back, I'm sitting like, wow, I waited until you waited all the way until now. Because trust me, when you're doing a trademark on something, it takes a long time, but you have to be patient. That's the same thing. That's like one of the fabrics of execution. Within the fabric of execution is the word patience, is the word persistent, is the word commitment, and accountability is in there. So now turning the paperwork in, now it gets kicked back, and now they're telling me that you got 6 months from now to fix this, or your whole trademark goes away. You will keep your money, you won't get none of it back, and it means nothing to the world. But I know that in order for me to fix it, in order for me to do that, I have to create accountability measures. So now I'm asking you, are you ready to make your ideas tangible? Are you creating measures of accountability? Are you focused on producing? Are you focused on production? Are you focused on your purpose? Are you focused on your vision? Are you focused on making it happen? Or have you allowed outside influence to affect how effective that you can be? Completely up to you. All the way. Completely up to you. Today is your day to close your mouth and move your feet. You've had 9 months to run your mouth about what you're going to do. It's time for you to birth that thing. It's time for you to make that thing a reality. You had 9 months in your gestational period of execution. That's what we're going to call this, right? This is your gestational period of execution. Are you ready to crown and to birth that baby, that idea, to make that thing tangible? If not, just stop. Just stop. Stop, go back and do research before you go out and try to do that thing again. All right, that's enough. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all. Tomorrow's Friday. And it's the 2nd. Some of y'all look at it as a holiday, whatever, however you see it. Tomorrow is Friday, but it is another day for you to be successful. It is another day for you to be blessed. It is your day 2 of your 9th month. Are you going to produce? Are you going to perform? And are you going to execute? That's what y'all got to do today. Y'all figure that out. I can figure it out with you. But again, it's not my vision. Only you have the responsibility of seeing your vision. Everybody else can only see the execution of your vision because people believe in the execution of your vision. They can hear your vision, but it seems so much clearer when you create that tangible result of the vision that you have. People believe in results. So stop running your mouth and get to work. Y'all be blessed. Hey, tomorrow 7:30, right here. Consistency is currency. Your morning podcast of choice. Peace.